What is that? What is that? Why are they running and jumping from the roof? There are so many questions with the new Resident Evil trailer that it's honestly hard to keep count. And while this isn't gonna be a full breakdown, I do want to look at some of the bigger moments from the trailer and see if we can answer some big questions. Like, are we dealing with the regular T-virus or something stranger? How did our protagonist get here? And most importantly, is this going to be a good Resident Evil movie, or is this just gonna be another zombie movie? Now the first thing I want to look at is our protagonist Brian here, who's walking through the snow, presumably after something happened to his car. Now this is just speculation, but I think it would be funny if he got into the exact same situation as the truck driver from Resident Evil 2, except this time he got out alive. Back to the trailer though, we see as he's walking towards this house that he's carrying a medic box. Now from a first glance you might just think he's a medic, or he's picked up the box on the way in order to heal himself, but director Cregger has revealed that Brian is a courier. Then he went on to say, and I quote, "He does not realize the bigger picture of the job he's been tasked with." This is very exciting. Maybe he's been unknowingly sent on a mission to deliver a whole new virus, or maybe he has something similar to Elpis from Resident Evil 9. But anyway, the house that Brian's approaching is all but empty, and the phone lines are dead, maybe due to some crazy T-virus mutation that rampaged through here. And that theory is all but confirmed when we see this later in the trailer. I'm very curious to see what's behind that door, but at the same time, I don't want to know. And if what Cregger had to say about this is true, then I have very high hopes. He said, and I quote, "This is a creature that will pursue Brian throughout the entire movie, and its evolution will be very exciting to see." And if you've played Resident Evil, that may sound like he's referencing a tyrant or a nemesis type creature. And while that could be the case, I think it will be more similar to William Birkin, where it's a T-virus infected human who not only gets more disgusting, but bigger throughout the movie. And speaking of bigger, this is the next thing we see. My first words were, what the fuck is that? Because as far as I can recollect, I do not remember seeing anything like this in Resident Evil games. You could say it looks like Chunk from Resident Evil 9, but it's clearly not the same thing. Cregger went on to say that he just loves the idea of a big, white, hairless, obese man in the sewer staring at you. And if you're thinking that this is a big Judge Holden reference, then you're absolutely right. Cregger did say that he used Blood Meridian as a reference for this creature. That's pretty based, but we can see that as Brian approaches the creature, he's holding an MP5, and this is another important thing I want to look at in the trailer. Now, as we can see in the beginning, it looks like he has a handgun, which is presumably in the beginning of the movie. Then at some point in the city, he acquires a shotgun, and then later on, an MP5. And this is maybe the most noteworthy takeaway from this trailer, and that's because upgrading your arsenal from a little handgun into a shotgun and then to something even more powerful is a universally relatable experience, not just in Resident Evil games, but survival horror games in general. Cregger said, "As an avid fan of the Resident Evil games, I understand the feeling of going from a handgun and then finding a shotgun and being like, thank God." And it doesn't just stop at the guns. We can see Brian looking through drawers for ammo for the shotgun, and we can also see him trying to get a key for what we can assume is a locked door. In my opinion, this only makes me more confident that we are in good hands for a great Resident Evil movie, because Cregger understands that the best way to respect the original series is to adapt a relatable experience of going through a Resident Evil game for the first time, as opposed to adapting a story that's already been told in one of the games. And while it's been confirmed that this movie does take place during the outbreak in Raccoon City, Cregger said that this story focuses on a new character who just happens to be on the other side of town during this apocalypse. And I respect the hell out of this. Not only do I have full faith in Cregger because I have loved his past two movies, I don't see the purpose of adapting an existing Resident Evil character's story, and Cregger believes so as well. He said, and I quote, "I don't see the point in adapting a character like Leon's story into a movie because it would ultimately be disrespectful and disappointing." And this isn't to avoid the allegations that he's not a true Resident Evil fan, as he's openly said that he has thousands of hours in the series as a whole, and he famously said that he stopped playing Resident Evil 8 in-house Beneviento because the baby in the basement was too scary. So it's not only clear that this guy knows ball, but it's definitely clear that we're in for a ride that will be full of relatable Resident Evil experiences, like horrifying T-virus mutations, finding something disgusting in the sewers,
Holy shit!
scrounging drawers for ammo and herbs. By the way, you can see a green herb from Resident Evil 4 in the corner here, and it wouldn't be Resident Evil without some bloody and wild set pieces. And based on early audience reactions, some comparing this movie to Mad Max Fury Road, which is likely because Zach Cregger said he wanted to make this movie feel less like a condensed experience similar to RE2 and more like an open journey in a massive world similar to RE4. And that sealed it for me, because based on what we've already seen, we're gonna go to many different places and we're gonna have a great time while doing it. But I've said my piece. Do you think this movie is gonna be good or bad? Are you disappointed with the fact that this is gonna be a separate Resident Evil experience or not? Let me know down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're here.